That's a key argument in this thing.
No, no. The reason why I talk about it is because when we deny Bhamesh, we don't learn how to cope with it, and that's why we have so much violence, because we're trying to, push it down, suppress it without dealing with it.
Yeah, it's just like a volcano. You see, it gets pressurized in the mental and just pop out of anger, and it creates lots of havoc. Yeah, we have to cope. Like you said, we have to cope. We have a certain emotion. We need to see how we can process this emotion. Is it useful that we have to express it, or if I can let it go, or if I can master this emotion to let it go, but not letting go just to suppress it somewhere within ourselves. It has to let go. It has to go really far away. Damien mentioned something about the perception being malleable. This is such a beautiful thing, because it's changeable. We cannot say that we perceive things the same way that like I've been perceiving yesterday or 5 years ago, 10 years ago. We evolve. So coming back to perception, we have this inner perception, like anger, for example. It can be an inner perception because it forms part of an emotion. It forms part of a feeling. You see? So this inner perception is what we have to balance. We have to, well, balance is not the word because it's quite tough to balance perception. But probably let's say that the process of tackling, we pay attention to this anger. So it demands a kind of let's say some time or a mastery over our thought process, over our feeling process or emotional process, that at least if we can pay attention to what's happening to us in the inside of us, within us, for whatever emotion it can be, because paying attention is just like catching the thief. You see, the thief just comes inside, right? And we know there is a thief. Are we hiding? We say let him rob anything from my house. It's okay because I don't want to be in this action. Okay. Or I pay attention to him. What is he doing? In the meantime, I take a mental process of how to catch him or how to prevent him from doing any things, from robbing the house. You see? So like paying attention is like catching the thief. And you know what happens? The thief is going to get freezed. Because in our primate process, we have the fight, the flight, or the freeze. The 3 Fs. Either we fight with him, or we run away from him, flight mode, or we freeze. Either we get freeze ourselves, and he does whatever he wants, or we freeze the thief. So freezing the thief is a way of paying attention to what feeling is coming to us. Now, if it's someone who is coming to give us something, he's not going to come like, it can be a surprise. Okay, let's say it's a birthday surprise, or let's say my brother is not in Mauritius, okay, and he happens to come surprisingly at home. It's dark, and he just come in the house. So my mental process my mind can say that I can't see it. It's dark. So is it a thief, or is it someone who I know, who is going to give me a good surprise? So that's why paying attention is important, because when we go into this immediate response, this immediate reaction, we can make blunder. We can thinking it's a thief, we can do things that's not proper. So paying attention, observing, and out of there, if it's my brother who has come home for a surprise, it's going to be a good surprise. So my whole process changes. You see, my whole emotions, feeling changes, because it comes from fright to a happy mood. You see, so when we pay attention to whatever is coming to us, whatever you're perceiving, this paying attention will either freeze whatever is not good, like freezing the thief, or freeing the emotions, like it's my brother who just came home, So I'm freeing him. I'm freeing my emotions from anger, from fright to happiness. So I believe that paying attention is the first thing we have to our first reaction is to how we can observe what's happening. Then from there we go through the process, either catching the thief or letting him go, or doing something which is going to frighten him, you see. So that's what I'm thinking about this.
So like pause, observe, and then decide.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it all comes back to why meditation is important. Because what do you really do? You sit, and then you let everything come to you, and then you observe. And then you end up realizing that they just come and go. They are not really you. But you do reach a stage where you realize that everything is also an illusion. Because all these thoughts, we still don't know where thoughts come from. Right? No one knows. We pretend to know. But we have we can guess they come from previous experiences. Like when you're doing something, you think about things in the past which were important to you. So our cells have memories too. So let's say you had a back accident. Next time you get onto your back, you may feel your leg numb because you had an accident before. So we do have cell memory, and which create thoughts as well. But all these things are actually illusions.
Mm-hmm.
And everything around us is a sort of illusion in a way. It's a dream, like it's something we've given form to. But is it real?
Well, the experience is real.
Yeah, but it's still like brain chemicals in your head, isn't it?
And that's the hologram.
Yeah.
And then the experience, what you're feeling is real, and that's what it's emitting, and that's what's creating your reality. That's why they say you create your reality.
Exactly. You look at the quantum physics side of things. So I know in textbooks they write that if the electron is observed, they use the word observed, and it behaves in a different way. Now we have that argument. What does observe mean? Is it us looking at it, or are we trying to measure the electron, how it spins? But we know it behaves like in a different way when it's being measured or it's being observed. Otherwise, it behaves like a different way. If we're not observing, if we leave it here, 0.0, 0.20, it does something. If you observe it, it's something else. So just the idea of observing, looking at something is changing the reality. And we each have different perceptions anyway. It's not never going to overlap. So we actually don't have something called the truth. I think it doesn't exist. We have subjective
realities,
let's say. Bhamesh has one, I have one, you have one. There may be overlap, that's why we can have this discussion actually. But we'll be killing each other.
Also because we all have we are now co-creating each other in each other's space. And this is where we are creating this experience to have this conversation in this moment of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we each a reflection of each other, and we come when we're putting our minds together to kind of share something that we all share, a vibrational alignment at this moment in time. That's how we co-create each other and evolving, because that's why we are having these conversations. We're thinking these ideas, we're thinking deeper, and we're sharing information so that we are now refining our perception of what it was between half an hour ago before this conversation. Our perception will certainly change in some way, shape, or form after this podcast. And because we are taking information that resonates and letting go what no longer resonates, then ultimately we'll be evolving in a way that's more in alignment with your highest best, your truth. You take your truth and you expand on that so that you can emit a frequency that feels more in alignment to each individual.
We kind of know what's good for us, and we don't know it from a purely objective point of view too. We just know it. I think emotions are very dangerous actually. Sometimes our body may tell us something is good for us, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yes. Like lust.
Yeah, exactly.
Lust and love.
Temporary.
At times, you know what? The bad experience is in fact the best experience. Because
Everything is
going
good.
through the bad
There's no bad experience. You're being a dualistic now.
So that's the worst things that happens to us. Because
But what's worse?
you say that, and I resonate with that because, and the thing is, when there's something wild that happens to you, and you think it's crazy, for as long as you tell the story of how bad it is for you, it will stay being bad for you until. But and once you let go of that, and you can see how good it was for you, that much the darkness. When you come out of that and you can kind of see it from and you can then see how much that benefited you, that's powerful. That's almost, and I've mentioned this before, but that's almost how I perceive the Jesus dying on the cross, where he thought God had forsaken him. It was that much into the dark that then once he let go, then that was where he rose again. That's kind of, that's kind of what I think about when I...
Yeah, we talk about the phoenix last time, like burning itself and then reducing itself
again.
To becoming again something else. And we have so many different stories about that. I mean, like the Buddhist concept of rebirth also. I mean, the traditional Buddhist guys, they think about the next life or other lives and all that. But to me, the concept of rebirth is like in our timeline itself. You take yourself, Damien, like 5 years ago, that was someone else.
Completely.
Right now, you are someone else, and in the next 5 years, going to be someone else. There is that idea that we are dying every day. I can't remember how many cells die each day in our body. So we do have cells dying and cells being born again in our body. So every day we're dying and being reborn anyway. And in a moment, you can actually just be born again. You can have a massive change in perception because of something which happens. Let's say you have a near-death experience and suddenly you start being grateful for everything in your life. And we also talk about that idea of oneness, because I don't think there's really difference between people. It's all in the mind. Like we can take one of the oldest creature on earth, which is like the lobster.
Really?
Yeah, it's like billion years old, okay? And we are like 600 millions as a human race. So the lobster is very old. And I was reading...
I saw a lobster just the other day. It was crazy. Anyways.
Really? So I was reading that it's endocrine, no, it's nervous system, okay? The way it functions is similar to the human body. And it's like how many billions years old. So the lobster fight among themselves. Okay, and if one of the male lobsters actually is a bit depressed because lost the fight, and you give the male lobster antidepressant, which they've done, suddenly it strengthens the body again and then fights again.
Oh, really?
So it's like a human person. When you're depressed, you can have antidepressant, and then you're good again. And the nervous system is very similar to ours in that sense. And I'm going to tell you something which is going to shock you. So when the body of the lobster is straight, that's where it feels like the more dominant and it feels really confident. And you know in meditation why we straighten up the body? Because when the body is straight, the dopamine level is really high in the body. So anything you do, in most things you do, you need to have your body straight. It gives confidence. It opens up the chest. It also gives that message to the universe that you're actually open to whatever you throw at me, you know. That's very interesting. And we're learning that from a lobster, man. It's like billions of years ago. And it's like our ancestors, we share the same nervous system.
So I meditate. I've been doing a lot of meditations with a pillow against the wall on my bed and feeling very comfortable. I think I'm going to have to refine this one.
Take it like a man.
Sit up there straight.
I like this word, to refine, because the refining process is part of the process that we are going through, right? We cannot be the perfect human being, but we refine the process. And coming back to perception, we cannot control what we are perceiving because it just comes to us. However, we can choose what to allow or what not to allow to happen.
Yeah.
So whenever we get something to us, we perceive something, or we're going to control that, because that's not part of the process. It hasn't come to us yet. The moment it comes to us, it hits us. Then comes the observation process. We become aware again. Awareness just comes up, and from there we choose what to do or what not to do, or do we just take it as perception and just keep it here, right? I've been reading and reflecting on something last time. We used to say we create our thoughts, and Geerish, I'm happy he mentioned that earlier. He said we don't even know where the thought comes from, or is it our creation? I'm happy I've heard that from Geerish, because it was going through my mind since some days. Then I realized something. we don't create our thoughts. We don't create the images. We don't create our dreams. We don't create our desires. It just comes, okay? But there's a natural flow. There's a natural flow, let's say, of energy or vibration. And from this natural flow, that's when it passes through our mind. So I was thinking about, we've been mentioning, we have our perception. I have mine, Geerish has his, Damien has his, and all the millions of billions of people in the universe, on the planet, have their perceptions. But why don't I pollute, or I can't influence the person with the perception I'm receiving? I believe in this invisibility, in this invisible world that we can't see, we can't perceive in the external sense through our senses. So why do I attract things? Why do I have such a kind of thought patterns? Why do I have such an imagery? Why do I react in such a way? That's part of me, my personality, meaning my body, my thought, my feeling. So it creates, there's this kind of vibrational energy. And why do I perceive things is because I was looking for something which is related to what I've been perceiving. I can't perceive for anything for Geerish or for Damien, because I don't find, why should I perceive things for people who are not in the same perception as I am? However, when we are speaking, we become a unit. The three of us become a unit, and out of this, we get the thought processes that we are sharing around, right? So there's this kinds of energy vibrations or anything that's around. That's around what it's part of me. So it can be linked like an anchoring. I don't know how it's linked. It's just a mental process and just a thinking process, right? So I'm not creating the thoughts. I'm just part of this flow of thoughts because I'm in alignment of what I am. So the more I'm in alignment with what I'm looking for, that's why we say,
the more you
download those thoughts that
we get in, let's say, like it's a kind of a field, right? We just get in an alignment with this field, and this is what comes to us. It comes to the thought process. That's when we perceive the emotions, we perceive the thought, we perceive the words, and out of this becomes the thought creation. Out of this becomes the image creation. How can I have an image if it doesn't exist? If I have the image of a mountain, it's because it exists. It's not my creation. It's there.
It's always been there. Yeah.
It's been there. That's why I perceive the image of a mountain. How can I dream? I cannot create my dream, but there's something around me which is bringing this dream towards me. Desire. Do I create my desires, or is it that it's part of me that comes towards me? This invisible field of desiring things. Let's say I like to have. Let's say I desire to have one particular kind of book. It will come to me. It's not because I've only created the thought process. It's because it's there. It's there somewhere. I've been looking for, so it comes from out of me. It moves like a filament, something, and it taps into this field. And when these two touches, then it becomes creation. Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to, but I want to leave. I'm gonna have to head off. It is 4, and I gotta get to Grande. But what I want to leave us with is with just going back to perception quickly. Is that whatever's happening right now in real time, when you're observing something and it's happening, it makes no sense to respond to it in a negative way because it's in the past. Because light, it's already happened, and light is reflecting that. It's like, what's happening now, this conversation is already in the past. So the more you can not even let the past affect you in that way, but just refine your perception to move forward, there's no point in holding on to the past. But what's happening at present is in the past because it's light bouncing back from the object that's already happened in the past. So just something that's been assisted me on my journey. So for example, let's say someone's like, you do the project and then it's like, no, sorry, we're not going to accept this project. Straight away, I'm like, and then I'm like, but it's in the past. So why am I holding on to that coal that's burning? Just let it go and just move forward. So anyways, that was something that's been assisting me on my journey. So before I head off, thank you guys so much for the chat. It's been really cool. It's really good. Really interesting. Bhamesh, it's been lovely to meet you. Really, I enjoy your perspective, and I look forward to connecting again very soon.
Sure. We're all here to be connected, right? Thanks, Geerish.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just say one last line too before we end. I would just end with another existentialist perspective again, which says that there's no success or failure in life. Success is not success if you didn't learn something from it. And even failure, it's a failure if you didn't learn from it. So it's all mental constructs, success or failure. It's what are you really learning from it? If you're really learning, it's good. So in that sense, everything is good.
Everything is good.
You get to learn from everything.
Well,
right?
exactly.
We just have to accept. Yeah.
Accept.
Yeah.
And know that you're just gaining more wisdom every single thing that's happening. It's similar concept I said it in tennis.
Yeah,
just play. Every single shot is a good shot. The more time you spend playing, it's a good shot because now you've got it in your arsenal of shots.
Yeah.
For when it's relevant. So rock and roll.
Cheers. Cool.
Faith, trust, and rock and roll.
Okay.
Okay.
See you next week.
We summed up.